Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by Big Lez from the Big Lez Rugby League podcast. What's doing, Les?
Not much. Just cruising along. Got to watch my brother last night in the development squad for South Sydney, which was quite good. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, just a bit of a cruisy one yourself. What have you been up to?
Nah, not too much. Just working away. Do a bit of training, getting in the gym like yourself, trying to get fit again, mate. I cracked a little wave yesterday. And for those who don't live here in Sydney, the weather's been pretty good this week. Can't complain. The afternoon's been beautiful. Morning's freezing, but that's the way it goes. Site pizza competition. We had our first winner the other day on Team List Tuesday. And looks like we've got another tough little guess the person competition. Last week was Jason Clark. Jason Clark even wrote to us and said, oh, well, that was a tough one. But this week's one, I reckon it's got a little bit tougher there, Big Les. What do you reckon?
Well, look, I've tried to make it a little bit more complicated. The fans, I underestimated how quick they would be with guessing Jason Clark. I thought I'd chuck a bit of an easy one up there, but didn't think it was going to be that easy. But this one should get people thinking. I think that I've thrown a few harder clues in there to really take a little bit longer for you to get that one. But I feel like in saying that as well, some people might have already got it.
Yeah, I didn't sort of get it straight away, but had a look at clues 2 and 3, and it sort of helped me along the way. But all right, thank you again to Site Pizza there at Little Bay, Maroubra. And on Monday, they've got the big opening down there between 6 and 8, some live music and a few pizzas and $7.50 Young Henry's. I'm drinking a Young Henry right now, actually. It's not about drop Young Henry's. Tell ya. It's not bloke in the bar, but
Podcast fuel.
Rabbitohs Radio, mate. Look, we've got some Rabbitohs news, mate. It's sort of been around for a little while, but Wayne Bennett looking to shake up the roster just a little bit, free up a bit of coin in certain areas, and one of them happened to be Damien Cook, who signed a 2-year deal, reportedly $1.5 million only a couple of years ago, 2-year extension, so he's halfway through that first year. Thoughts on that one, Big Les? Big news?
Yeah, no, it's great news. Obviously it was sad to see Cook go, but to have that cap space looking forward for South Sydney, especially looking at who we could grab, who we can bring into this roster. I know we've got Lewis Dodd coming, in quite soon, going into next year. But yeah, look, as I said, very sad to see Cook go. I think that I thought at least he'd stay at South Sydney for the rest of his career. I'm sure that not many people would have thought that he'd be leaving the club. And even Ben Hornby said himself, it's not like Cook wanted to go. It wasn't the thing that he wanted to do. But at the end of the day, he's made his decision. And now he can focus on the rest of this year. And I think that's great. Keen to see Damien Cook have a big end to the year for us.
Yeah, on the Dragon side of things, I think he's going to be a big end for them. They're obviously going to pay a little bit more money. He gets that extra year deal, a bit more security for him and his family. Reports up to $1 million per season. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I was obviously on about $750 at South. There's also reports from James Hooper there that South might tip in $50 next year to help the Dragons out, and that following year, Cookie gets a bit. So it's a great win for Cookie to get a bit more of an earn, so to speak. Good on him. He's been a great servant at the Rabbitohs, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been a great servant to the Rabbitohs. I think it's $1 million over 2 seasons, so it's $500K per year there for Damien Cook. So it's a little bit of a downgrade. Okay,
there you go. Well, anyway, there you go. Gets that extra year, a little bit more money for Damien Cook, and an extra year. Who knows? He might be able to extend again. A guy like that, is that fit? You've never ever questioned his fitness or his commitment to the club or any club that he's ever been at. I first sort of laid eyes on him. We played against the Dogs that year before he came, and he carved us up, set up a try, scored a try, and South Sydney got him. And before you know it, I think that first Charity Shield, he opened him up and just about scored a try on his own from his own 40. And from there, he's basically played for the Blues, Australia. He's been a mainstay in the spine. So he's going to be a big loss. He's not only a great player, he's a great bloke, a real great teammate. And A lot of the guys are going to certainly miss him. What does that do for South? Leaves a big hole, to be honest. We've got Peter Mamazoulis, got Ryan Gray. I think he's only on a part-time contract, but I'd say South Sydney recruitment team will be working overtime to try and fill that spot. Now, they've got a few options there. They can go out and grab a few guys that give them opportunities. Jaden Berrells from Cronulla Sharks, who just hasn't been able to get a run, or put some money into that Blake Moser, who's got a lot of raps on him up there at Brisbane, for example, but he can't get in front of the coach's son, Kevin Walters, who's getting a run every week. There's also a young kid at the Roosters, Al Holton, who's a good young player. He's got a big future. Or do they go out? Have they got someone in mind over in England? We know Mark Ellison was over there. Big Les. Thoughts on how we replace a guy like Damien Cook?
Yeah, look, I think that Peter Mamazoulis isn't that young either. I think that he's around 25, 26 years of age. He's been waiting for that spot for quite a while. So you sort of fast-track his development a little bit. I think that he'll be going into that starting 9 role. I think what South Sydney will do is they'll look to stack up the forward pack a bit, getting some forwards from the Super League. You mentioned that we've had recruiters go over there and look in England for some guys to bring over. Obviously, Lewis Dodd's been one of them. Wayne Bennett signing straight off the dot before we even knew that he'd signed with the club. Lewis Dodd, great signing. But yeah, just getting a few more forwards, I think, is the big thing. We sort of discussed it on my podcast when the news broke initially that Damien Cook was signing with the Dragons. We sort of talked about which direction South Sydney would go for. I think as well, I think a good thing for South Sydney to do, especially when you're preparing for the future, you've got guys like Damien Cook going to the Dragons next year, but Cody Walker, he's getting into those peak years as well. You want to sort of look for who's going to be the next 6 at the club as well. So just getting a bit of depth around the spine, even at fullback, potentially if Latrell goes down or gets suspended going into next year, just to have a replacement there after Blake Taff. We don't have the best replacements other than Jai Gray, obviously, who's done a great job there at fullback. That's just about the only depth that we have there in that fullback position. So just getting some depth in and around the spine, I think, would be nice. I'd even consider going for a 14. I know that Zach Wolford from the Canberra Raiders is off contract, I think, at the end of the year. So I'd be talking to him. He's only getting his crack in first grade right now this weekend. So, I'd be talking to him. There was a few other guys we brought up, like Zach Docker-Clay, who's a bit older, but would be just a good guy to have around the club in terms of some experience. Has played a ton of rep football too. There's plenty of guys that South Sydney can go over and try and grab. Who are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I didn't think of Zach Wolford, but yeah, he's a real goer. Been around the traps for a while. Obviously, the son of his father was a great rugby league player himself down there at the nation's capital, the Raiders. Real goer, give you everything he's got. Yeah, look, I mean, obviously the person I'd love is Jeremy Marshall-King, but he's just extended up there at the Dolphins, so that's probably not going to happen. I like what he's done at the Dolphins over the past couple of years, and the back end of his Dogs career, I think he started to get it happening. Look, you never know in rugby league what's going to happen, but it has freed up a bit of cash. Reports of Ewan Aiken, the edge-back rower, coming down from the Dolphins, possibly Wayne's first signing since he has come on board. Royce Hunt from the Cronulla Sharks is another one I think who'll be a great addition. That might free up some money to push in some of those areas. There's also a lot of guys, 7 or 8 guys off contract that probably won't be re-signed. They're talking about throwing a deal at Shaq Mitchell, the big middle forward, Latrell's brother. And I don't know, guys like Tane Milner off contract. Isaiah Tass, there's talks maybe that he's going to possibly get extended. Not too far away, I believe 5 weeks away. He will be coming back before the end of the year, mate. So, yep, it'll be interesting to see what direction we go there. Sounds like the pathways are just filling up a few spots there. It's got some talent. Yeah, young bloke from the Magpies. Looks like he's come across Maddox Fui. Just up on a couple of those fan pages the other day. Very, very mobile middle forward, 17 years of age. Played in that Magpies team from the Harold Matthews competition this year. He's come over. They'll just stack the shells to fill the void of obviously Thomas Bird just leaving for a start. And looks like Damien Cook. So hooker and middle forward is going to be certainly on the menu at the Rabbitohs recruitment office at the moment.
Yep, totally. It's going to be interesting to see what they do for Damien Cook, but look, very excited for the future of the club as well and what direction they do want to go down.
And you got some news about a Rabbitohs veteran forward, mate.
Yeah, so I've just heard wind that Junior Tatola, it looks like his season is over with that injury. Unfortunately, it's a big loss for us through the middle. We have been missing him through the middle over the past few weeks, and particularly those weeks we struggled too. I just feel like we've missed his grunt through the middle, his defence. But yeah, look, I mean, we've turned a corner since then, but he still has been little bit of a hole in our forward pack. And yeah, wishing him all the best, going into the rest of the year. We sort of heard word of this for a while. There was talk around training, as you had said before. But yeah, it looks like it's been confirmed now that Junior Tatola will be out for the rest of the year.
Oh, he's a big out, Junior. Just a great guy. Always got a smile on his face. Always got time for you. I interviewed a lot of the fellas over the years, and he'll sit around after the interview. Doesn't just walk off. He asks, "How you going? How's your family?" and all that sort of stuff. So he's a real, genuinely lovely guy. He got over from the West Tigers. I think he's one of 5 brothers. Quite a talented family. All of them played junior reps and stuff like that. I think one of his brothers might have been at the Dogs recently. Bit of mail. He might be popping over to Redfern as well. There's one for you there, Big Les. Yeah, so interesting to see what happens there. Freshen him up for when the master coach Wayne Bennett comes into the building. But a great opportunity for guys like Dave Mawali, who we've spoken about over the past few weeks, who is almost in career best form. Sean Kepi gets more of an opportunity now. Shaq Mitchell only possibly 4 to 5 weeks away now. Yeah, it sets up a big back end of the year for guys like that. Also, Benny Lovett been training the last few weeks. Looked pretty fresh today. Now, he obviously had a significant leg injury in the grand final when we beat the Bears there at Parramatta Stadium. So another name that might pop up on the sheet this coming season, Les. Right, Big Les, we had the Rabbitohs Junior Development Team, 15s and 16s years of age, played a North Queensland team called Kerwin State High School. And our boys ran out winners 42 points to 26 at Redfern Oval Thursday night. A lot of talent in that team. Big Les, you obviously got your eyes on that one. There was a winger that he looked a bit like you, this winger.
Well, look, he doesn't look as much as like me as what you'd think. Doesn't have my charm looks, but my brother there, Will Stewart, he was there on the wing, had a great game, had some really tough runs, some really big tackles as well in defence, and just getting better. He's just put on about 15 kilos over the past few weeks. Was out with concussion for the past 3 weeks as well, so took that time to just get in the gym. Absolutely, starving the kitchen. There was no food around for weeks because this kid would just eat everything and, put on 15 kilos. He's just sort of trying to get used to that weight, but playing quite well. And he just has a bit of a drive now to really push for some different opportunities, including Matt's obviously next year if he does make the side. So, it looked good in this game. Definitely plenty of standouts in this one, though. You had the number 6 there, Khan May. I thought that he was outstanding. Obviously played him in the first half and then went with a different halves pairing in the second. But his first half had 2 really key moments, setting up 2 tries down the left-hand side. One off a beautiful kick where you'd sort of look at his kicking game and go, this is not normal for a 15-year-old kid. But he's an absolute weapon, and passing game as well. He's right to left passing, spirals, and just his combinations with his other half, not playing with each other, I wouldn't imagine, in any of the lower grades unless they play for the same footy team. Just to combine with your halves so easily like that when you probably haven't had enough time to train with each other and, probably haven't played with each other before. I thought it was really impressive. He was one that stood out to me. And then the 2 brothers or the 2 cousins I've heard, the Signs cousins, Cohen and Nate Signs. I thought they were outstanding. The number 16 and 23 for those at the game. They were phenomenal. Their impact coming off the bench was just absolutely outstanding. And you sort of warned me about one of the cousins there. You thought he was wearing number 12, ended up wearing number 23, and came out and just had an absolute barnstormer. Super impact off the bench. Elijah Blair, what an absolute weapon he is. He is an absolute unit, and got the afro to go with it as well. It just makes him all the more scarier when you're looking at him on the field. But, scored 4 tries, I heard, by the end of the game as well. So, absolute freaks coming through the grades.
Yeah, I think he scored a hat trick in 15 minutes in the first half. Big Elijah Blair Marley, I think it is.
Mm,
Apologies there. And the two cousins you're talking about, Indigenous backgrounds. I think it's Nate Signs. Wainwright was the number 23, and Cohen Signs. He was the number 16. Real powerhouses. Got a lot of skill about them. They've been at training with Georgie Katrib and Jason Haney, and they've been talking about these couple of guys that they didn't know too much about them, but they have been really impressive at training. They do everything 100 miles an hour, quite aggressive. The other one that caught
mm,
the eye, besides May, was Jaden Rook. I think he had jumper number 20 on possibly.
mm.
Played, I think he might have played 5'8", or he's in the halves or at lock, but really, really sharp sort of guy. Really good defender too. Picked up a couple of guys, tipped them on their backs. They were pretty impressive. There was a centre as well. I can't remember the guy's name, but number 4, he was really strong as well.
Ben Wright.
And for Kerwin, Benny Wright, yeah, I thought he was really good. He showed some really good signs, Benny Wright. And for Kerwin, well done for them to coming down here, giving our boys a run. It wouldn't have been easy coming up against the size of the South Side. A couple of blokes were just like you could have got away with playing in the 19. Some of these guys that were 15, 16. And we also had 6 or 7 of them out. The Pathways manager there, Benny Hill, said some of them were rested because they got the under-15s National Schoolboys Championship coming up. No, it didn't want anyone to get hurt leading into such a big event, a big moment for these young kids. So, yeah, well done to Kerwin. They're at the captain's run today, and they're going to the game tomorrow as well, Big Les. They got a box out of the game. I thought the winger was pretty handy. I think he scored a try. One of the middle forwards there looked pretty good, and they've got a bit of talent there. Kerwin State High School, so well done to them for coming down. The Origin under-19s men's game, I didn't catch the women's game. It looked like a bit of a touch-up. The Blues were all over Queensland. Have you got a few words on that one, mate?
Yeah, I do. Shout out to Casey McLean. I thought he was an absolute weapon there in the centres. Obviously prepared all week to have the combination with his brother, and has had a combination with his brother on that left-hand side for Penrith for most of the New South Wales Cup season or in the lower grades. And obviously, Jesse got ruled out in the first few minutes, unfortunately, with a head clash there. Bumped into Tyrese Tate's hip as he was trying to tackle him. Unfortunately, he had to come off and miss the rest of the game. But Casey, with a new combination, a guy that he hasn't played with before, for him to do what he did on the field there, just the grit and defence, he was going at 100
Connor
miles.
Vitano just worked well together out there, the boy from Newcastle Knights. He looks like a bit of a talent too. Tapped the ball back in there at one stage where it was almost bouncing out back for. I thought the player of the match was Chevy Stewart. I'm not sure about you. What about the explosiveness of young Chevy Stewart?
And look, he played last year as well, and obviously didn't have the best game in last year's series. Yes, New South Wales had a pretty comprehensive win there, but Chevy Stewart came on for a few minutes and didn't really have the best performance, and it sort of hurt his, I guess, development a little bit because he didn't really come into first grade until halfway through the season for Canberra. So for him to do what he did in this game, have an absolute blinder, Chevy Stewart. I thought that he was definitely the standout for the Blues. And just, again, we talk about never say die attitude in attack. He made a few errors, but just kept coming back, kept making that next play and kept fighting. I thought that he was great. They don't have the player stats here, which is a little bit annoying, but I thought that he was outstanding. I think he ran for nearly 200 metres or just above 200 metres, Chevy Stewart. So, blinder. Fanako Seve, I thought in the middle of the park as well for the Blues. A Melbourne Storm player. He was insane. Him and Loco Junior Pacifica Tonga, they're in the front row. Definitely a tongue twister there. Lucky I got that one out with no error. But those two were outstanding. Really, really set the tone well. Matt Arthur there at 9. Noah Martin from Canberra. Oh, my God. This guy is going to be huge.
I wonder if he's related to Miles Martin, who they just signed from Newcastle. He's a bloody good lock forward as well. I'm not sure if they're related.
Potentially. He's got a brother over there already.
He played for the Blues. He played for the Blues last year.
Yeah. Well, there you go. He was outstanding. He was outstanding, Noah Martin. I thought that he was really impressive. Unfortunately, Blake Steep got ruled out of this game early due to him playing for the Roosters this weekend. So they obviously
that's a shame.
Cody Hopwood. I thought that he went quite well. As for Queensland, I thought there were some huge standouts. Jackson Purdue, I thought was great. I thought that Tyrese
Yeah.
Tate, when he got the ball in his hands, he was just an absolute weapon. And Kobe Black, his kicking game is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. For a young guy, he's 18 years of age, so younger than me, and doing what he's doing there. Absolutely insane.
Ripped off a beautiful 40-20, didn't
Yeah, but just to have that kicking game so young, learning off guys like Reynolds, it's going to be so good for him when he comes into grade. And, you know, a lot of people are saying who's going to be the replacement for Adam Reynolds, and then a lot of people talking about Jock Madden. I think it will be Kobe Black. I think that he'll win that jersey because he's a real talented footballer, and obviously had a big game a few weeks back where his team scored over 100 points. So he's definitely coming off a pretty decent form line in Q Cup at the moment. And then the last guy I want to touch on is one of my mates, De La Selva, from the Sydney Roosters. Had some beautiful runs in there. Unfortunately, kept losing his headgear every time he ran the ball and lost a boot at one stage as well. But other than that, just kept fighting. Himself and Benny Allen, who started the game, I thought were really tough through the middle. But yeah, De La Sel, he is going to be a player of the future. And even the Johns boys, after these first few runs, were just talking about how good this guy is going to be when he comes into grade. I think by Origin 3, you'll see him debut. I would not be surprised if he gets a debut around at the Origin 3 period.
No, he's got a hectic kicking game, a good game control. I think his service was good from where I stood. I thought he was a standout. I thought Lewis Simons off the bench wasn't too bad. He had an impact in the game for the Queensland side. The fullback's going to be a player. I thought defensively he made some pretty good decisions. Israel Leota, I think you mentioned him last week in our Broncos preview. He showed some signs there. Just had a few errors, but I don't mind blokes making errors in a game like this. I thought we went in the game looking forward to seeing Mitchell Woods. Didn't get a lot of opportunities. I thought Jake Elliott outshined him in the half. Put on a beautiful kick out for McLean's try.
Yeah,
It just had a real different shape about it. I thought it was quite unique. I really like what I've seen there, and I'm glad you mentioned Loco Junior Pacific Tonga. What a big unit! 121 kilos, 196 centimeters. He's bigger than Payne Haas. And a bloke who come off the bench caught the eye with size as well. I think it was Sam Tuivaiti. He was a big unit too. I think I wrote his stats down somewhere. I think he's like 190 centimetres, 191 centimetres tall and 118 kilos. These blokes are 18 years of age. Speaking about that dev team for South, well, mate, go and have a look at that bloody game. But a lot of skill on offer. It's always a game that I love to watch. Caden Lars, I think it's Tom Leroy Lars' son as well. He's a good footballer. There's a bit going on there.
Yeah, look, just touching on Mitchell Woods, look, you're right. Definitely, Jake Elliott was probably one of the more dominant halves in this game, and those kicks as well. You look at Andrew Johns' commentary after those tries as well. With those awkward kicks, it just stops the defensive line when those kicks go up, because you just don't know what's going to happen, where the kick's going to go. Half the team probably thinks the ball's going out in the full, or it's an absolute shank and the winger's going to grab it. But the whole defensive line stops. And it just creates a lot of opportunities and a lot of broken play for New South Wales. We saw that try with Chevy Stewart getting that ball and giving it back on the inside to Casey McLean. It was unreal. But Mitchell Woods, I thought he had some good kicks, had a solid one in the second half, and just had some really good, just setting guys up. His edge men, I thought they did really well with that. On that right-hand side, passing game and game management's definitely there. There's definitely a player there with a lot of potential. But yeah, look, I think that in terms of the halfback battle, in terms of the kicking game, I think Kobe Black definitely won that battle.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But Mitchell Wood, keep an eye over him. He's coming. Don't worry about that. He'll play first grade no matter what, unless he has a horrific injury. On to the South Sydney Rabbitohs game. The big matchup tomorrow night, 7:35 out there at Accor Stadium, a triple header. You can see flag, reserve grade and first grade. Got a bit of feedback about that last one I did on the balcony there about the Dogs. I think one was from flag player's father, Nick Fletcher, a young bloke, Thomas Fletcher. We didn't mention him the other day, but he's making his long-awaited comeback from, I think it's a hernia operation. So looking forward to Thomas, highly touted, big middle forward, former Australian schoolboy. He'll be coming back. Yeah, he had a good laugh about the Dogs, mate. He should shut them bloody Dogs up. My cousin rang me about them dogs in the background. I was going to start the show out there today, but the dogs are barking again. I had to come inside, but so apologies for that one. Yeah, South Sydney Rabbitohs. We played 150 games exactly against each other. Can you believe it already? And it's 72 wins for us, 78 for Manly. Tries, I was looking at the most tries ever between South Sydney Rabbitohs and Manly for our team. That is not their team, wasn't really looking at theirs, but 17 tries by Nathan Merritt. Most points scored against Manly, Eric Sims. A couple of great Indigenous names there. And Alex Johnson's only 2 behind Nathan Merritt. He scored 15 tries against Manly, so you never know. A hat trick tomorrow night puts him out in front on 18. That's not a bad effort there, mate. How do you like this matchup?
He's coming for all the try scoring records, Alex Johnson, at the moment. He's got a few years left in him, so I think he'll grab them all by the time his career is done. But yeah, look, it's a great matchup. Obviously, both sides with a few outs. I'm looking at this forward battle. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think that you can't really underestimate Manly here, because I think they will come out and with a bit of ticker and a bit of fight, especially with a bit more of a mobile pack with Ethan Bullymore there, who's just an absolute worker starting. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, well, we're talking up our team. We've had coming off 3 wins, quite a gutsy win last week with a couple of blokes in the bin and all that type of stuff. But Manly's win the other day, mate, they'll be talking about that for years to come. That was an incredible win. I think basically in the first half they both had no bench. They got one guy back for a little bit to make it 14. To be able to hang on and really dominate that win. It wasn't like they won on the bell. They kind of commanded quite a good win. People playing out of position everywhere, which we've had to do at the Rabbitohs with Damien Cook playing all over the joint. So their tails will be up in the air. I know Bold he loves getting a win up over the Rabbitohs. He's a team that he walked away from there, had a bit of success. And Jimmy Dimmick, South Junior, and the coaching staff over there. So don't worry, they'll have a plan there. Benny Trebojevic. I'm just looking at the back row. Corey Waddell, Ben Trebojevic, and Nathan Brown. Good footballers, and they're both in pretty good. They're all 3 of them are in pretty good form.
Yeah, no, totally. It's going to be a great battle. Obviously, Jai Arrow as well in some pretty spectacular form at the moment. I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes in this one. Just the grit that he has and a few combinations he's starting to build on that edge as well. Keon Kalamatangi through the middle, though, is going to be the standout for me. I think that he's really going to start the game well, set the tone well in this one. In that 13 jersey, I think that in the next few weeks, if Cam Murray does, he's obviously going to reclaim that 13 jersey. I think there's a big chance that Keon takes a middle forward spot. And that's going to put more emphasis on David Mawali and Sean Kepi. They really have a big start in this game as well and really set the tone. So, yeah, look, keen to see our South Sydney start. I really am. But Keon, Davey, Sean Kepi, they're going to be a big part as to how we start this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you're going to think Keon will play the full 80. Jai will go close. Cheeks might be one of those weeks where he goes out and plays the full 80. So it'll be guys like Tom Burgess, Talis Duncan, and the debutant himself, Liam LeBlanc, coming in to spell those front rows, the starting front rows. That's where the opportunity is going to come for those bench players. I'm expecting Peter Mamazoulis to get a run this week. Didn't pan out last week with Cookie in such sublime form. He only got on at those last couple of minutes. So that's how I'm expecting the rotation to go. Down there at the captain's run today, we spoke on Teamless Tuesday, me and you the other day, about the LeBlanc family coming down. Well, 7 or 8 of them come straight from the airport with their luggage and everything, and they had some signs. You might have seen it on our Instagram page today that there was a couple of signs made up for Liam LeBlanc. Congratulations to him. They were all in good spirits. There's a lot of people down there at the captain's run today. There had to be, I don't know, it might have been nearly 100 people down there coming down to watch it. That's what happens when you win. I remember going to training about 6 or 8 weeks ago. I think I was there with one bloke. He had his Garbo clothes on, and that was about it. It was just me and one other bloke. But certainly plenty of people down there today with keen eyes, and there was a lot of energy and a lot of talk out there. Looks like we are going to run out 1-17. Look, I'm also looking forward to this. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the fullback matchups. Both only played 3 games, debuted this season. You got the famous Hopewade name. Been many great players come out of that family. Jai Gray coming back from a syndesmosis injury. But Lehigh Hopewade got some. He's had a great start to his career. The first 3 games, plenty of tackle breaks, plenty of try assists, and and line break assist, Big Les.
Yeah, no, Lehigh Opawade has had a terrific start. And over the past few weeks, I've heard a lot of chat that Tom Travojevic, Lehigh Opawade has been so good that it looks like Tom Travojevic is going to come back at centre. So, you know, it's great to have that sort of impact. He has been great with his try assists, just setting up other blokes around him. Got his first try last week as well. And he was big in that Manly win. A lot of emphasis was on DCE, but I thought that he had some real big moments as well out there at fullback. As for Jai Gray, we've talked about him a lot on this podcast. You know, just his effort areas for such a small guy, especially in contact and up in the air as well. The way he moves, and just because of his size, he's just so hard to handle as well. As a defender. So really keen to see this fullback battle. I think it will be one of the better battles of the day. And I think you could get two very different games here. I've seen two very different games over the past few years when we verse Manly. It's either a tough, gritty game through the middle or it's a super fast contest. It really does depend on how this game starts as to what the type of game it is going to be, whether it is that fast contest with, you know, Cody Walker, Jack White and Luke Brooks and Carl Lawton setting up their outside men, spreading to the edges early, or it is that just gritty battle through the middle where you've got guys like Moale going up against Toe Sipley, Nathan Brown, who always starts the game very well for Manly, going up against Keon. You know, this game could go two different ways for me. I really can't get a read on it.
Yeah, look, I just looking on paper, as I said the other day, it kind of does look like a little bit of a mismatch with when you look at the two spines. But look, you never know. Manly coming off that steering win the other day could have their tails up, and if they get an early lead, you never know. Could force a lot of errors from the South Sydney team. But just back to that Lehigh Opawade and Jai Gray. Well, Jai Gray came in against Cronulla. There's a lot of talk on social media to get him in there, give him a run, and he finally got a run there. I think he had 7 or 8 tackle breaks in his first game. His first involvement in the game was a big high kick where he snapped it out of the air and ran out of the in goal. But I think 2 out of the first 3 games he hasn't been able to finish them. One was a late shot, well, not finish him, but not play the full 80. I think he had to go off for 10 or 12 minutes for a HIA against Cronulla. Came back on. The following week, I think, against Melbourne, he ran for 196 metres. He was the best player in a beaten side by a country mile, where Melbourne touched us up. JD was subsequently sacked. The following week, not the following week, we had a bye. After that, we came out of the bye and had Penrith, and he had a syndesmosis injury early in the game, and I was at that contest, and he showed a lot of grit and toughness to get to half-time, Big Les. He was struggling out the back. He had no impact on the game at all. He just stayed out there for as long as he can. So now that he's coming into a pretty good football team, I'm expecting a pretty big impact from him. And I think he's going to be my anytime try scorer this week. I think you see Jai Gray. He looked pretty sharp out there today, pretty good on his feet. It's been a slow build from a syndesmosis injury. And I expect him to have a big impact on this game.
Yeah, very excited for Jai Gray, as I said before, his effort areas, but also his ability to set up his outside man, his nippiness, and just, you know, getting around defenders quite easily as well. Yeah, look, I think that he'll score a try. I think that he's going to set up a few as well, going down the right-hand side. He was very good going down the right in the last few games that I've seen him in first grade. So looking for him to go down that way again, you'd probably be looking at Jacob Gagai as an anytime try scorer. I mean, if Alex Johnston's only 2 tries away from the record with Nathan Merritt, you'd have to throw him in there as well. So, yeah, look, it does depend, as I said, how the game goes. If I'm picking a multi here, I probably would go Jai Gray into a Jacob Gagai, probably then into, and a bit of a smoky here to get you a bit of value into your multi, I would probably go a Keon Koloamatangi there through the middle of a short ball out of dummy half. I think that he's going to get over as well, just by, you know, really having a good impact through the middle, his running game, but also his passing and link man game, but just his toughness through the middle and the way he starts the game. I think that he'll have a big one, get over 200 metres like he has over the past few weeks, and potentially score a try. Scored 1 the other week, scored 2 the other week, actually. So looking for him to have a big game in this one. Keon, Jai Gray, Jacob Gagai, and Keon would be my little multi there for South Sydney.
Okay, nice, mate. Yeah, as I said, I like Jai Gray anytime. I didn't actually check the price. I think he might be $3.50 or something like that coming back into the side. My same game multi, it's a bit out there, this one. It's paying about 180 1-1. I've got Alex Johnson to score, Jai Gray to score, Jack White to score. I think he's been close the way he's been coming back from the left-hand side and straightening up. I think he gets between defenders. I think Saab gets a try, one of the quickest players in the game. If you think back to Lofi Khan-Perret, we struggled with his speed. We struggled with the speed of Dean Mariner last week. I think Saab gets a try there himself. And just to throw in a bit of value to boost it right up, I'm throwing in Davey Chips and Gravy, who has been in good form, mate, as well. The big fella, he boosted value. I think he's around 6 to 1, so $181 there. Chucked a little lazy $10 on that, Big Les, and you never know your luck in a big city, mate.
Yeah, look, I don't mind it now that you say it. Don't mind it at all. Look, talking about Jack Whiten, I think that there's a big chance he scores a try. Talk about his running game over the past few weeks, but he's running up against Carl Lawton. He's playing out of position as well. If this is the team they name going into game day, Carl Lawton is out of position. He's a hooker, back rower. Carl Lawton hasn't played halfback or in the halves generally for a while. So him going into that halfback jersey, he is pretty much out of position and hasn't played in that position for a while. And defensively might be a bit of a liability there. As I said, we could be chucking a lot of traffic down that way. I think that, yeah, Jack Whiten could be a real smoky for any time try scorer. I like it a lot.
I'm glad you mentioned Carl Lawton. I think he's 28 years of age, been at a couple of clubs. Played 94 first-grade games. Not one time has he ever started in the halves. He's never started at 5'8" or halfback in any of his career. He has played there at times during games because he's been predominantly a bench player, predominantly a back rower, played a bit of lock and stuff like that. But I think his main position is second row, and he's been a handy player over the years. But coming up against a guy like that, that's where I think we have the matchup in the halves. But like you said, you think there could be a little smoky there. Jamie Humphries, who's a great young talent, can play just about anywhere in the back line. Humphries, so possibly a little smoky. But do you want to debut 3 players in one game? Big ask. We've got those couple of young blokes coming in off the bench, the Fijian boy, and I'm sure that it's going to be a big occasion for them. But South Sydney with the one debutant, I lean towards us in a big way. I'm a pretty biased fan, as you know, Big Les on Rabbitohs Radio podcast. I'm going the Bunnies by 19 plus, and they're going to put on a big score and try and get this for and against up. And we need a few results to go our way because we are 3 games out of the top 8 at the moment. I think you need the Titans to beat the Warriors this week to give us half a chance as well. We need a few results to go our way. A friend of mine, Kane Freeman on the Gold Coast, messaged me a bit about that today. We don't just need to win; we need a few results to go our way. If it's going to be pretty tough to win. What is it, 9 out of 11? Did we say the other day on the show? That's quite a big ask. But with results going your way, you've got to turn your for and against around. If you're going to scrape in there on 8 or 9 wins, for example, you want to turn. I think we've still got just about the worst for or against in it. So it's time to beat up on a few teams, so to speak, be led.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think this is a very winnable game for us. I think that we've got to get the job done. You talked about Jamie Humphries just before. I would be shocked if he doesn't come into the side, whether it be 7 or 14. I think he does come into the team by kickoff. Gordon Chen Kum Tong, he has been getting pretty limited minutes. It's been usually in the last 10 to 15 minutes of a game, if even he comes on. So I think that he'll drop out. I think we do see Humphries come in. Whether that be at 14 or at halfback, I'm not too sure, but I think he definitely comes into the rotation. As you said, I think we do need a few big wins, and looking forward to seeing what we can pull together, especially after the Origin period when everyone's back. I am really keen to see what we can do.
Yeah, very interesting you say that about Humphries coming in. I think back to a guy that Manly had the last couple of years, that KO Weeks, fullback. He's played in the halves, quite a speedy guy. When I seen him get a run when Jamal Fogarty was out, I thought that was a bit of a strange one, put him in the halves, but he's been outstanding down at the Raiders. Jamie Humphries could do something very similar for Manly. He's going to trouble with his speed. Not only his speed, he's got footwork. He's got a bit of a kicking game about him. He could be someone that they're going to lean on coming in the semi-finals time, particularly with a couple of more Origin games to play. Daly Cherry Evans steering around the Maroons come next Wednesday night. So, yeah, I like that one, mate. Pretty interesting.
Yep. Yep, can't wait to see how we go. And yeah, interested to see how Jai Gray goes coming back from injury. Obviously, the halves as well, they've been destructive over the past few weeks. Cookie, just seeing how he's going. Obviously, a lot of contract talk and finally got that sorted. Looking for him to just, put his head down, keep to the processes, finish off the year with South Sydney well. Keen to see how he responds to what has been a pretty interesting past few weeks, obviously, in discussions with St. George. So, as I said, just want to see him really put his head down and work hard for the side for the rest of the year. And that's going to start in this one. Keon Kalamatangi as well through the middle with Big Davey are going to be the tone setters here. So, very winnable game for us. And looking ahead to the rest of the season, we've got a few of those very winnable games over the next few weeks, which hopefully we do get done.
Yeah, heading into a bye, I think we might, we'll obviously recap the game, the Manly game, but we might preview the Origin one coming in Wednesday night as well. Big Les. I'm heading out to the game tomorrow. Brownie's coming. I'm taking my daughter and a friend, and Brownie's daughter's going out as well. Looks like we've got the injured halfback, Lockie Ilias. He's going to be on stage with us at the post-match function in the northwest corner, the P&O members function. So if you're out there at the game, it's Junior Appreciation Round. So there's plenty of activities going on and giveaways for the kids. A few clinics out the back of the Western Grandstand and a few face painting and stuff like that. So looking forward to it. Up the Mighty Rabbits. That's it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the Mighty Rabbitohs.